What's up, my Pete's, and welcome back to Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B with my guest tonight, Detroit Dom of Sideline Sports. How you doing, Dom?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fan-fucking-tastic, for lack of better words. Well, over the weekend, the Lions added Mike Hughes after signing Garrett Gilbert last Friday. Garrett Gilbert makes me happy. You know, he's a tight end slash fullback slash halfback. He's kind of that versatile player that Dan Campbell likes. Plus, he has familiarity with Dan Campbell to begin with. So that I think that was a great pickup. Mike Hughes, I'm on the fence with because he had one great year with the Chiefs, which was 2 years ago, which 2 seasons before. That year was the year, of course, when they went all the way. And then the last 2 seasons, he's kind of been I mean, he's ranked high on PFF, but PFF isn't the whole picture. The advanced stats question the hell out of him with me because he had a 126.7 passer rating against and 5 touchdowns given up.
Well, like we just said right before we came on the air, he's on his third team in four or 5 years, but he is still only 25. He's a former first-round pick. I would say at least close to half the reason that Minnesota gave up on him was because he couldn't stay healthy. And
Right.
It was another 1-year deal, right?
Yeah, it's another 1-year deal, which was what we said would be the deal. But that pretty much all with 9 cornerbacks on the roster between the practice squad and active roster. I'm pretty sure we don't take a corner at all in this draft.
I'm okay
Kind of
with
like
that.
having four QBs on the roster with the practice squad. We're probably not drafting one either unless it's a late rounder or a UDFA.
Oh darn. Does that mean
Yeah.
does that mean one of us can personally go out and just finally dead these, like, as much as I look forward to the draft every year, and obviously we all do, the main thing about the draft coming up that I'm looking the most forward to, so people will shut the fuck up about Malik Willis.
Yes.
So we can just get through the draft and I'll be like, see, we didn't take him. And I told you we weren't going to take him. And everyone, it got so bad I had to agree with Mel Kiper yesterday because he doesn't even think it's a good idea. And I'm like, oh man, I just agreed with Mel Kiper.
Yeah, and it's the first time in
myself.
20, 35 years I've agreed with Mel Kiper. But anyways, Dan Davis pops in, says, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? I'm doing fantastic. Stephen King pops on and goes, what's going on, guys? Talking Lions and NFL football. What else is new? And then we got to cover the big story of the week. Tyreek Hill to Miami. Chiefs get a haul of picks. They get a first, a second, and a fourth this year, with a fourth and a sixth next year for Tyreek Hill, which makes that whole wide receiver corps way dangerous. Because Jalen Waddle didn't look as fast as he did at Alabama, but he still looked fast. You add in Tyreek Hill, you talk about a defense, a wide receiver corps that's going to blow the top off of safety zones. That's nuts.
I've never been a big Devontae Parker guy, but I mean, I would take Devontae Parker as my number 3 right now. Speaking of,
Facebook user pops in and says, hello.
Let me get to that before I get really angry, since we're talking about receiving corps and people that what is up? Is it your connection? Is it mine?
Yeah. It seems to be yours because you're froze directly on mine. Mine seems to be moving well.
I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of both of ours, but we both keep freezing and going in and out. I don't know. These things aren't perfect. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm so tired. Like, I've seen multiple different articles, and you can't really call them like memes, but where you see the picture potentially of our, what might be our starting receiving corps, and I see, Amon-Ra and Shark, and then it says, Josh Reynolds /? Hello, hi, my name's Quintez Cephas. I'm the only guy that got separation last year before I got hurt.
Right. He was the only one
later in the year. I love that he's being forgotten right now. I hope he gets completely forgotten for 16, maybe 17 games next year.
And Facebook user, by the way, if you could comment your name, because you didn't click the link above the video saying that you allow StreamYard to use your picture and likeness. Dan Davis says, question, how far can Tua get the ball down the field to Tyreek Hill? Not as fast as he can run. How's that?
They would be wise to run a lot of bubble screens with him next year.
I was going to say they would be wise to use him like Michael Thomas next year, a bunch of slants and crossing routes.
I was just about to say, for as much shit as I gave Waddle and fans of Waddle, I kind of forgot who his quarterback was last year. Is it any surprise that he averaged less than 10 yards a catch? Tua can't throw it much farther than that.
Exactly. That being said, going on to my next banner here. Denver's Mile High Stadium catches fire. The fire has been contained. There was some damage done, but man, you go from a dumpster fire to an actual fire for Russell Wilson. I couldn't help myself. I had to say it.
Speaking of Russ, I don't know if Andrew's watching or not, but I'm just at this moment, I'm counting down the moments until he comments and he's like, we should get Metcalf or Lockett.
Well, Lockett, I'm out on. He's freaking 29 years old.
I was going to say he's too much of a diva for me, and I think he's overrated. Like he's done some great things and had some highlight reel moments, and I mean he's had a couple good seasons, but I don't think I want that sort of headache in Detroit. I don't think he.
Oh, look
I don't
at
think
this.
he fits what.
And coming in is David Pike.
Gonna do.
And
if you remember,
hello from Detroit Lions Forum and Motor City Lions Talk.
You know,
absolutely.
I have a few comments to get caught up. Joseph,
pissy.
Joseph Host pops in. Hey guys, you think we are going to sign a free agent like a DE? If we were going to sign one, we would have signed Arden Key when he came in for the visit. Other than that, what do I think of the price that Miami
all
paid?
Of his visits, though, and
what do I think of the price that Miami paid for the Hill trade? I think they paid quite a bit too much, in my opinion. I mean, he's a great player, and he's transcendent as far as speed. But is he going to be great with Tua?
He's not Devontae Adams,
right?
Kansas City won that trade way too easily. They got way much more in return than what they were giving up.
Right.
Plus,
and Steve Bauer says, "What's up, JB?" Facebook user puts up a laughy emoji.
Right on the cusp of, or maybe in that category of, it doesn't matter who his receivers are. It just looked really, really good because Tyreek Hill's so goddamn fast. But McCole Hardman's pretty fast too, and now he's going to get a bunch of those targets. And they went and got MVS. That didn't move the needle on me. Apparently, just anybody. I mean, Valdez-Scantling just got $30 million for 3 years.
Yeah, guaranteed money.
I should go try out for someone. I got to be worth at least a couple mil.
That's one of my things to bring up here in a little bit too.
Apparently, 30 catches and 450 yards gets you $10 million annually now.
Yeah, so we better hold on to Amon-Ra at rookie wage for as long as we can, because he had, 49 catches, 900 and some odd yards, and 5 touchdowns?
He had a hell of a lot more catches than that. He had almost 100.
Oh, yeah, it was 93. Excuse me, 93 and 963 yards.
He would be the one going forward, assuming he continues to progress. I would sign him. I would extend him a year early, like we did with Ragnow.
Charles McLean pops in, says, "What's up tonight, JB?" Chris Schilling is, "I'm with you, Dom. I think that DK Metcalf is overrated too. Overrated to an extent. He did develop his route running better, which it did improve him. But with Russell Wilson getting hurt and being as garbage as he was last year for the last 6 of the 8 games he played, that didn't help him at all to look good." And Pete Carroll and the GM said they have been quoted saying they will do what they can to extend Metcalf, so he's not on the trade block. I thought that was the case. The only one I heard on the trade block was Metcalf or Lockett.
Or Charlie McLean. Well, you can do what you can. But oh damn, that Michigan game's on. Damn it.
Yeah, Michigan's playing Villanova right now.
At least watch it on the.
Let's see. Charles McLean says, "Sorry, I am late watching the Michigan game." Yeah. And heard Mike Florio say that Miami is talking to the Niners about a Jimmy G trade. More power to him. Jimmy G's better than Tua.
Yeah, but then at that point, you've got yourself a three-headed monster between Tua, Jimmy G, and Teddy Bridgewater, because all three of those quarterbacks are not very well separated as far as talent is concerned.
True. I forgot they got Bridgewater. And the other thing is, I feel like if Miami offered Tua in the trade for Jimmy G,
they'd turn it down.
San Francisco would be like,
no.
So then really, what do you do?
The problem is that with Tua is that, again, the talent disparity between him and Jimmy G isn't that much. But what is that Tua is a fucking China doll. Like, if he gets hit, chances are almost 50% or better he's coming up injured.
True. Jimmy G gets hurt a lot, too. He just didn't get hurt last year. But when he plays...
That being said, Tua really didn't get injured as much last year either.
No, he didn't. But, again, Tua has an extensive injury history that goes all the way
Yes, he does. I know.
I think that's why we didn't want to draft him, because we all said, let's say he defies all odds and has a healthy career for however long that be. It's already like there was already sand flipped over out of that hourglass. Like, even if he played healthy his whole career,
but
Tua will be out of the league in less than 10 years.
This is what would help them. Jimmy G knows Mike McDaniel's offense. That is why it would help him. That's
true. That is very true. Plus, on top of that, if you're Jimmy G, you want to get the hell away from Anthony Lynn at all costs.
Bingo. Bingo.
I knew that was going to get you, Jeremy. I knew it was.
Most overrated offensive coordinator ever. Got fired from one job, became a head coach, got fired from that job, became a head coach, got stripped of his, or became an offensive coordinator, gets stripped of his offensive play duties, gets hired as an assistant offensive coordinator, and the offensive coordinator gets hired as a head coach. So he gets the promotion by proxy. Holy crap. You can't write it up any better than that.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, the real big issue is that when you're taking a look at all the quarterback trades this year, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan,
go on my phone and see if it's better.
Russell Wilson, and now Deshaun Watson. It's like just the sheer amount of quarterback trades we've had this year is just unfathomable. I cannot remember another offseason where so many quarterbacks were getting traded from team to team.
Traded and signed and everything else. There has been more movement in the QB free agency and in trades than we've ever seen. That should be very alarming to anybody that wants to draft a QB this year. I mean, 28-31 at the half right now for Michigan versus Villanova.
Question is, who's up?
Villanova. They're the home team, so that's how it would be wrote if you're doing it by away and home.
Yeah. Makes sense. Villanova's got a pretty good basketball program.
But the fact that we're hanging in there after a half, that gives me hope.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, Jeremy. I mean, we've talked about this so many times in private conversations on other shows and all that. It's just like I don't see the allure that a lot of fans have when it comes to drafting quarterbacks. That's like, no matter what quarterback you look at, each one of them has problems with them. And again, as you said, and I agree with you, and I've said it on my own personal channel, freaking Matt Corral is by far the most pro-ready, but that doesn't mean he's the best option that there is. I mean,
absolutely.
He's no better than what freaking Mac Jones is, and Mac Jones I don't think is going to get much better than what he was last year, to be honest.
We said this last year, that Mac Jones had the most NFL ready, but the lowest ceiling, and Matt Corral is that same exact QB this year.
Yeah.
If he can even perform at his pro day. If he can't perform at his pro day, he'll fall. And as a second or third round pick to be a backup, that wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad, but again, I don't know.
I just don't see it.
I don't see it either. Honestly,
ceiling, because higher implies high as opposed to Mac Jones. So I might say less low ceiling. He's definitely got a better arm. He's more athletic.
Michigan misses a lot of baskets. This must be who I think it is. I think it's Jason Bandy. That's going to be my guess on that one.
I mean, it again, if you're talking about just the sheer lack of talent disparity between the quarterbacks this year, it's just, again, we haven't seen a quarterback class this bad since 2013. And 2013's class was just downright abysmal.
Yep. Okay. And then Facebook user also, the Bears want Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson and are willing to trade up for them, JB. I've heard the same thing.
Sweet, have at it. They are desperate at receiver.
Yep.
You know who else is though? Green Bay.
My question is,
Yep.
what are they gonna trade? Like, they've only got two second rounders. Like,
Right,
they're
I
gonna
was
have to give
gonna
up a
say, I
lot
don't even
more
have
than
a
that to
first
trade
rounder.
up.
Let's just make things.
I'm waiting to hear what Rodgers is going to say about his boy Randall Cobb being the wide receiver 1 and Anthony Lazard as the number 2.
Right.
Wow.
They're gonna draft.
And that is Quinn that's been talking in there. All right. Michigan is like 1 out of 6 from the free throws. Yeah, they got to clean that up. Free throw shooting has been killing them all year.
I mean, we already know Green Bay is going to draft a wide receiver. They've got 2 first-round draft picks. They're definitely drafting a wide receiver in the first round. The question is who they're going to get at the bottom of the first round between all the
It's
picks
Jenny
they get.
Grayson. Okay.
So, I don't know.
They're going to get Burks, or people think London is somehow going to fall that far. There's no way.
No, London will be gone by the middle of the first round. He's not
That's what I'm saying.
He's not getting past pick 15. Not a chance in hell.
With all these QB trades, how far do you see a lot of these QBs falling now that a good chunk of teams no longer need QBs now? The first team that might take a QB early in this draft is Carolina.
I don't think it's a might. I think they will because
I think if they were smart, they'd grab Matt Corral.
I don't think they see Darnold as a viable option. They need an upgrade there.
Well, when he went 5-1 to start the season, they said, "Oh yes, he's our guy," and they went ahead and extended him for the 5th year already. And then all of a sudden, the Darnold implosion starts to happen, just like his rookie year. And they're like, "Oof, he's not the guy." Sign Cam Newton. Sign PJ Fleck. Do anything. Somebody do something.
I mean, past that, I see potentially the Texans might grab a quarterback at 13 now that they have a first-round pick. They might, if they're not sold on Davis Mills.
Oh, you're gonna love my answer to this one. What team in the end will end up with Baker Mayfield? Michigan Panthers, because he's better than Shea Patterson and Paxton Lynch.
Oh God, they have Paxton Lynch too.
Yeah, talk about horrible
God.
drafting.
Now I'm kind
Their
of glad
first pick overall in their QB draft, because QB was first round, was Shea Patterson.
That I saw.
And then 4 rounds later, they chose Paxton Lynch as a backup.
And I know they got another quarterback. I just didn't know that it was. You know what? Now I'm glad that I won't be attending any Michigan Panthers games this year because
Actually, the Saints won't draft a QB because they just re-signed Jameis Winston and they still have Taysom Hill on the roster.
Yeah, they signed Winston to I think it was like a 2-year, $21 million contract.
Look at Dan's reaction.
I mean, if you take honestly a look at all the teams that need quarterbacks this year, the Falcons, even though they signed Mariota, they need to find a better option because Mariota.
They're waiting until next year. They're expecting to be a bottom 5 team.
Yep.
There's a lot of teams that could, and they're a lot of them. They're like, well, we could wait till next year, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's a team or two out there that takes a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round this year, and then still takes one in the first round next year.
Absolutely, David. Take it away, because I have the feeling you're going in the same direction I was.
Well, the first thing is whatever team signs him, they're not going to care about the fact that Kaepernick is coming back. The first thing that's going to come up is his whole kneeling stance. That's what's going to dominate the headlines. The next thing that you got to ask yourself is, this guy has not played professional football since 2016. He hasn't snapped a football, thrown a football on a professional level in 7 years. So it's like, dude, even if he has all the physical tools, which he most likely still has at 33, because a lot of quarterbacks are playing almost into their 40s now. It's like, dude,
again,
the mental ability to read defenses, the processing, it's probably not there. It's going to take a lot of time for him to get back up to speed.
Actually, they went out and said, nope, we're not drafting one. They signed Mitch Trubisky.
Yep. And they're still talking about maybe
they got Haskins and Rudolph still on the roster as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like Mitch Trubisky at all, but the fact that he was able to win in Chicago as much as he did, that gives me something to say about him. But again, he's not a long-term solution at Pittsburgh.
You got half of those wins against us.
That's true. for whatever reason, Mitch Trubisky could always find a way to beat the Lions.
He could beat the Lions and the Vikings and lose to the Packers every year. That's what he did.
Yeah, which means he was automatically guaranteed a 4-2 record.
I mean, he made the playoffs a couple times. He got a winning record as a starter.
Yeah, fantastic.
I don't know. Maybe the change of scenery out to a year in Buffalo, sitting behind Josh Allen, might have helped him a little bit. I don't think it's going to make that much difference, but you never know.
When he had to come in those 2 times, once because of Allen being hurt and once because they were fleecing somebody, he actually didn't look bad there in Buffalo, which is why a lot of teams were clamoring for him this year as a starter. But Pittsburgh made the most sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
and Chris Schilling gives the best answer, with Trubisky was more like the other way around. The Lions always found a way to lose to him. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's always been a true statement about the Lions.
He was a starter for all of the Patricia era. The worst defense ever. Have a 30-point lead and still lose the game.
Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Does Seattle trade for or draft a QB, or will they roll with Drew Lock as their starter? What should they do? Well, they definitely shouldn't roll with Drew Lock. I'll tell you that right there.
I think they might. I think they plan on being a bottom feeder because of that. That's why they're getting rid of people.
Well, if they do that,
and he made the playoffs too.
They'll definitely be in line to get the best quarterback next year. They definitely will, because if they roll with Drew Lock, they're probably not going to win more than maybe 3 or 5 games.
Okay, who's
I think there's a number of teams.
Falcons and Lions is the best fit at 8. Then Lions can take Walker or Davis. What are you talking about, Charles McClain? Because I don't know who you're talking about because the Lions have the 2nd pick.
I think he's talking about potentially a trade back option. I don't know.
I don't think Atlanta's going to trade up. Atlanta's not going to trade up, though.
No, they won't trade up. I mean, they've got a lot of holes they need to fill. Their offense really doesn't have
sit right where they're at,
and their defense needs a lot of help too.
Next
they're
year.
a total rebuild.
I think the Falcons might go O-line, they might go D-line, or they'll go wide receiver where they pick.
Maybe.
Yeah, their wide receiving core
is nothing.
Might be the worst one in the league.
It's Kyle Pitts and whoever the practice squad guys was from last year.
I was about to say they had Calvin Ridley, but he decided to get suspended for gambling, $1,500.
Hey, but he'll bet you $2 million he doesn't have a gambling problem.
I mean, it is what it is.
Jets or Giants could trade up. Absolutely. Here's the thing. If the Jags go and take Hutch, that is the best case scenario for a trade back, because there are the Texans, the Jets, the Giants, even the Commanders all need O-line.
Yep.
And Philly. And then you got to add Philly. With 3 of those 5 teams having extra picks in the first round, that makes for an excellent trade-up opportunity. Will they? You don't know. But, it's been rumored that all of them have offered multiple trade offers for the 2.
Well, again, it all comes down to, I guess, what Brad Holmes is looking more for. Is he looking more for draft capital, or is he looking more to get the best player that he can at number 2, which at number 2, there are still plenty of enticing options. You could still get Kyle Hamilton. You could get Walker, Davis. There's plenty of options. It's just how far is he willing to trade back? Because if he trades back to the Jets, that's only 2 spots. He could still potentially get Hamilton there.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions have 8 draft picks, yes.
I thought they had 9.
No, it's 8. Todd Super Ginger, what up, guys? Why are all Lions fans still ball deep on Willis? Just don't see it. Don't think you might draft him, or you think it's smoke rings? I think it's smoke screens, whatever. 100%.
I'm not going to address that because I'm going to get to that on my Sunday show. And
now,
just for Willis fans out there listening, I'm going to crucify that comment.
Wait. He actually was dogging Willis.
I know. I'm just simply saying I'm tired of the Willis stuff, just like him. comments that are all about Willis, I'm getting ready for it. Come Sunday, it's going to be a fun show.
I want to address this now. If you trade back, do you trade 32 and 34 to trade back up into the first? No. As a matter of fact, I think they trade back with the 32 to garner more picks later in the draft, which makes more sense because whoever was at 32 would still go at 34.
I would consider trading one of those picks to jump back up into the first if, say, whoever, God forbid, trying to pray this into existence, say Devin Lloyd's still there at like 24. And you've predicted him on the big board for several teams, or for any teams between you and 34 or 32. Yeah, I'd trade one of those picks, and
they may have 9. All I know is we don't have 10 or 13 picks. Somebody was saying, "Oh, those compensatory picks are on top of the 9 they already have." Blah, 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 blah. It's not that. It's either 8 or 9 picks. Either way, that's plenty to fix your team. It's better than just your 7 regular picks.
Oh,
and we got 5 picks before the first 100 with having the very first compensatory
pick. That's the more
pick.
impressive stat in my mind. Not necessarily we have 8 or 9 picks. The fact that we have 5 before the first 100, that means the Lions have a extreme chance to really turn around their fortunes in this draft alone.
And draft 5 starters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't care what the order. It's edge, 2 linebackers. And I'm sorry, we've only really got Trayvon Walker. So it's 2 to 3 safeties we're taking in this draft. All we got is a free safety in Walker. We don't have any depth there. We got Jalen Elliott, who's a practice squad guy and sometimes works special teams. He's not of any consequence to make a depth piece. So you need 2 strong safeties still.
I agree. And again, that's why I'm hoping that maybe if we somehow get a pick in the 4th round, or if he's still sitting there at the top of the 5th with our pick, we could get Smoke Monday. I really like him as a prospect.
I don't see as many teams needing wide receivers as everybody sees. I only see 4 or 5 teams that truly need a wide receiver in the first round, which means one of those good ones could fall. Dean's going to fall because he had a horrible combine.
Yep. But
he didn't have a great pro day either. As a matter of fact,
point, though, Jeremy, that you did bring up, 4 or 5 teams do need wide receivers, but one of those teams, the Packers, I could see them maybe using both picks to get wide receivers because their freaking wide receiver core is so depleted.
And they're one of the 5 teams.
So I could see 6 potential wide receivers going off the board if you have 5 of them.
It's 225 now. I thought it was 239 because it's in the middle of the round where we have that pick.
The Jets might need one too, but didn't the Jets just sign someone the other day?
Yeah, they did. Lewis Cine, if Watson is there at 32, or do you take him? I would take Lewis Cine before Watson because what he could do for the defense is more important, and Watson would more than likely still be there at 34 because the Jags already signed everybody they signed, and they're the only one picking ahead of it.
The only team that I'm worried about potentially taking Watson would be the 49ers. That's the only team I'm really worried about making a jump up to get Watson. And the only reason I'm worried about that is because of Trey Lance. That's the only reason. Other than that
was a very prevalent trend last year in the first round. God knows.
And that's a possibility, but for right now, that has not been added back to the Lions. It still only has 9 picks for the Lions right now on all the draft boards.
Did not meet what did the rest of that say?
It said the Trinity Benson trade did not meet the conditions of the trade. Therefore, the 7th round draft pick that was conditional does not move to the Broncos. It adds 1 more draft pick.
It's possible, but again, as far as I know, we only have 9 draft picks. So.
He was mostly a non-factor too, but that's shit. I feel like I've heard his name mentioned almost as much as Cephas.
Holmes is not a coach, though. He's a GM, but hopefully Holmes knows what he needs, especially after last year of his first time coaching. You mean as a first-time GM? Actually, they know what they needed. They needed to gut this roster. That was first and foremost, and they gutted almost every single bad contract we had. The only one that's left, and I think he's overpaid, is Nick Williams, and I still think Brockers is overpaid, even though he restructured to get less. I don't think he lived up to his $8 million a year because he missed 6 games.
You're forgetting one, Jeremy.
Who?
Brockers.
I said Brockers.
Yeah.
You said Williams.
I said Williams first, and I said Brockers.
I forgot Nick Williams is still
you said Rodgers. That's why I was like, where the thunder are you getting Rodgers from? So I just misheard. But to address that point really quickly, freaking Brad Holmes as a GM last year, he had 3 great hits. He had Penei Sewell, Ali McNeil, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's like he did very well for his first year. He did very well.
And with the development in the offseason, where do we think Ife Melifonwu is? Right now, I think he'd be slotted in at the nickel.
Plus, on top of that, he picked up the UDFA's Jerry Jacobs and
A.J. Parker.
Yeah, the UDFA's last year were great.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he did great as a first-year GM.
So long as we get to that, and I'll say this plateau, and I'll say that firmly. As long as we get to that 6-7 win plateau, but I say it is a plateau as in that's about as it. I mean, could we win 8 games next year? Sure, we could. I don't expect it.
I say 6+. Yeah. And that's looking at the roster right now without the draft. I know just looking at the schedule, we should win 6 games without trying.
Right.
Well, the schedule next year is just absolutely weak. Like, we play the Jets, we play the Giants, we play the Seahawks, we play the Commanders, we play a whole bunch of teams that are really
Miami, Jags, Texans.
The Miami game's going to take a little bit more effort now that they got freaking Tyreek Hill. That's going to take a little bit more effort, but that's definitely winnable. So, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind, without any effort at all or minimalist effort, the Lions could win 6 or 7 games. Now, if they somehow can really nail this draft, which I expect them to, I would be willing to bump that up maybe 2 or 3 more games depending upon how well the draft goes. That's why I said, is it possible they could win 9, maybe 10 games? Yeah, but they're going to really have to nail this draft.
It's possible every year. The Sporting News picked us to win the Super Bowl, and we went 2-14 that year. The Sporting News.
Yeah, I know. But again, I like the fact that all of the stuff we've been seeing out of this offseason, again, with the fact that DJ Chark said the primary reason he came here was the culture. It wasn't the money, it was the culture, especially when he had better deals on the table. He decided to come here for the culture.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I see that, and I'm like, oh, all right, I can see that people are actually buying into what Dan Campbell's and Brad Holmes is doing. And that right there is more important than necessarily having a great coach or having the scheme or strategy or whatever. If you got players that are willing to play for you no matter what, that right there is more valuable in my mind.
And that's
the way these players
that
played.
Anyone that watched Lions football or just knows anything about football, there was maximum effort from pretty much every player on our roster last year. We were short on talent, but we were very long on effort. I expect that to continue.
Look at what Kyler Murray said after we murdered him. My God, I wasn't ready for that.
Right.
And the thing is if something like that, if you go back to last year, just because of the effort we put in game after game after game, no matter how close we lost or how much we lost by, we pretty much, if one play or a field goal had gone the other way, we'd have been a 6 or 7 win team last year.
We had the chance to win 5 more games. We could have been 8, 7, and 1.
Exactly. So it's like, if you take a look at that, our roster is pretty much the exact same as it was last year with some minor improvements right now. And we're going to only get more improvements after the draft.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, I got tons of optimism going into next year.
I've been saying it ever since the season ended. I've never had so much hope and optimism after watching a 3-win team.
Yeah.
We were the best 3-win team ever in NFL history.
To beat 2 number 1 NFC seeds in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
That's never been done in NFL history.
Never. And the one we smoked them, it was the first time a last place team, because we were in last place at the time, actually beat the number 1 seed by double digits.
Yep. Thank you, Cardinals.
And we said it, and the Lions might surprise ones. You never know. Exactly. You know, there's always going to be that one game we should have won, we didn't, and the one game that everybody thinks we have no chance in winning, and we do. It happens every year.
We were going to get killed by the Cardinals. Everyone thought the Cardinals were just going to steamroll us, and in fact, we did the opposite.
I disagree with that.
I predicted we would beat the Cardinals. I just didn't think the Cardinals would be that good.
Let me address that really quick. Did the Lions beat themselves when Justin Tucker kicked a 66-yard field goal 5 seconds after the play clock had expired? I don't think so.
Right.
It's like the Lions didn't beat themselves. They gave all the effort they had, and they came close to winning games, not losing games. The only games we truly got our asses smoked in was the Eagles and the Bengals games. That was it. Every other game we were in.
No, the Seahawks game we got smoked, and the Broncos game we got smoked too.
Broncos, I would disagree with that to a point, but the Seahawks, yeah, thank you, Tim Boyle.
Oh yeah, we just got pummeled by Rashad Penny.
Well, yeah, but either way, the point of the matter is that for a team as horrible as we were last year, we were not getting steamrolled every week. It wasn't like we were just laying down.
Right.
We were going out.
Beginning of the season, I said we're going to lose a bunch of close games, and we did.
The NFC North had the best 3-13 team and the worst 14-3 team.
Yeah. When you lose to the 49ers on your home turf because of a special teams
I was going to say you didn't even give up a touchdown.
And Chris, that's still wrong. It was 3-13-1. We didn't have 14 ties.
Yeah, if we had 14 ties, that would be impressive.
Yeah, because guess what? That might actually get you in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It would.
Well, I don't even know. There's a trivia question for you, Jeremy. What's the NFL record for most ties in a season?
I think it was 3.
See? I don't know.
You mean like league-wide or one team?
Campbell offense for full season.
Absolutely.
I would love to see that offense for a full year.
I think by mid-season, if everything's going right, you'll see Johnson doing the play calling.
Maybe. Because Campbell said at the end of the season that while he was fine doing the play calling, it was distracting him from doing his other head coaching duties.
That is hilarious, but you know what I mean, though. Could you imagine that, though? If a team had 13 ties in one season? That'd be the equivalent. That'd be the equivalent of 6.5 wins.
At that point, I'd just be like, dude, just get it done. Just get it done. Find a way to win.
Exactly.
It's like, just make one play.
Have 1 year where one team goes 0-17.
Yeah.
Never lose a game, never win a game, but 17 ties.
Dude, that would be ridiculously crazy. Ridiculously crazy.
That would be suicidal for a fan base.
Oh, they'd stop watching the games.
I'd be celebrating every week like we're on a 15 game unbeaten streak.
Oh, that just came out about Deshaun Watson.
Oh no, I heard about that. He is I just read it too. Deshaun Watson is up to go up for a second grand jury indictment. Guess why? The 2 girls that weren't a part of the civil case finally got back in town.
Actually, Jeremy, it just came across the NFL.com. It says second grand jury declines to indict Watson.
Oh, they declined him. Okay. Well, no, I mean, it just came up today that he was going in for it. It just started this morning. So, in other words, now it's declined.
So, at that point, he's pretty much scot-free unless something new comes up for criminal charges. Now it's just the civil lawsuits and whatever the NFL hands out. I think they have to, honestly, Chris, because Mariota...
Actually, no. They already moved him. He was on the Atlanta Falcons roster at the beginning, and he was traded to Washington. And now he's a free agent.
I'm going to check that because I don't remember that.
I remember it because Dom and I was talking about it just before the season started.
Yeah.
He was the redheaded stepchild of the NFL.
Yeah. Just getting passed around like a doobie at a Jimmy Buffett concert.
Yep.
According to ESPN, he's still a member of the Falcons.
He's free. Yep, he's free. But you know what that means? He still has to pass through the NFL investigation.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing, Charles McClain, it's going to be 6 games minimum that he misses. not 4 to 6. I've heard from everybody in the NFL is saying it's going to get a 6-game suspension.
I was going to say, I think he either gets 8 and appeals it to 6, or 6 and then appeals it to 4.
Well, maybe, or they might just do 4 and do a massive amount of fines. I don't know. It's not like they could just choose one or the other. They could do both as a 2-part package.
Right.
But I mean, at this point, honestly, if you're Deshaun Watson, the fact that you're not getting criminally charged is the best news in the world for you, at least. Because at this point, you just signed a $230 million contract. You've got enough money to pay just about any amount of civil lawsuits. It's just not what the NFL decides to do.
Can you
call? Had enough money before the new contract. I would have at least considered doing that, but
I love this comment. Can you call Allen Park and kindly ask Brad Holmes to sign Josh Rosen so he can push Boyle for the backup role? Rosen is better than Boyle.
I mean, LOL. I've been on the Josh Rosen train for a couple of years.
We've been talking about it.
Re-signed Blau. You know, he can be the number 3 and probably inactive most weeks. But how the fuck do you bring back Tim Boyle?
Because Rosen's still with the Falcons. I just checked it. According to ESPN, he is still on the Falcons roster. We'd have to trade for him. Granted, for Rosen, you could trade him for like a 6th round or a 7th round pick, no problem.
We can give him next year's 6th rounder we got from Denver and not lose any of our picks.
Right.
Exactly. It's not like he's going to garner much interest, and it's not like he's going to have that steep of a price. But I do agree with you, Dan. He's way better than either Boyle or Blau. He would instantaneously give us a viable backup option, way better than what we've got. So, I mean, realistically, though, I don't know. I still have a hard time reconciling myself to the fact that we signed Boyle and Blau.
He's not on their roster. He's a restricted free agent, so they have until the week after the draft to sign him or he becomes a free agent.
Well, hopefully that happens, and then maybe the Lions give him a call. But as a restricted free agent, that means another team has to put a tender in for him before he technically becomes another member of another team.
Right.
So,
and I think you got to give them, when they're a restricted free agent like that, and it comes to that point, there's some sort of compensation involved.
Yeah, usually you have to put a tender in, and it's usually to match it for like a 5th, 6th, or 7th round pick.
Guys, even I can play better than both of them, Quinn Cook.
Dude, I could play better than both of them. I played quarterback in high school and in college. So, again, does not surprise me. I mean, we saw what Boyle did this year. He was downright atrocious.
1 touchdown, 7 interceptions. That says everything.
Exactly. And it's like, I don't understand why Packers fans were so high on him when he was in Green Bay. And they're like, oh, he's such a preseason star.
That was a rumor started by fans. The Lions never once contacted Cleveland.
Well, can I address that further, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, Facebook user. We all know what Dan Campbell is looking for. He's looking for guys that will not cry, whine, or complain. And what does Baker Mayfield do the most? He cries, he whines, and complains. He's a little kid playing football.
There we go. This one says it all.
Shh. Dan, that's horrible. That's horrible.
A dead blind guy is better than Tim Boyle.
That's almost as bad as when George Bush waved at Stevie Wonder. No fans on social media is interested in Mayfield. The Lions are not. Yeah, we know that. It's the same thing with the damn Malik Willis crap. But nobody wants to acknowledge it because everybody wants to keep riding that bandwagon, even though there's no validity to it.
And as far as I'm concerned, the Kaepernick ship sailed 7 years ago.
The Kaepernick ship, as soon as he started doing that kneeling, and again, I'm not getting into politics here, but because of how, what's the word I would use? Controversial it was at the time.
Polarizing.
There you go. Polarizing, controversial, whichever way you want to put it. Because of what he did at the time, that instantly made him radioactive to any team.
Yeah.
Which means even 7 years later, nobody wants to touch him.
Yeah,
I don't know if I agree with that, but it put David in a QB and we win the Super Bowl.
I don't know about that, but it certainly would fulfill a childhood dream of mine.
Because if you remember, if you've seen the video, Ray Rice kneeled as well, but he also came with the slobber knocker on that chick in the
elevator.
In the elevator. Because he literally, he was like, I mean, he's a short dude anyways, but he was kind of like bent down, or I think he was like yelling at her, and then he just came across like, with the left, and I'm like, oh, that. As soon as I saw that, I'm like,
I'll say this.
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, that guy's never
one NFL investigation, so to speak, if you will, that the NFL actually handled appropriately. They punished him the way they should have. Because let's be entirely honest here. Freaking,
come on now.
I'm not better than Jared Goff. I will not even dispute that one. No. I'll have fun with the Blau and the Boyle comments, but I'm not better than Jared Goff. Not by a chance.
There's actually not a lot of QBs that are better than Jared Goff. Even Lamar Jackson had a worse year at QB than Jared Goff had.
I mean,
if you look at the statistical side of it,
Jared
Goff was in the middle of the pack when it came to the NFL this year, and that was with a pretty
somewhere between 14 and 18.
Yeah, I was going to say he's in the middle of the middle tier.
Yeah, and that was with a horrible team too. So imagine what happens when he gets talent. He'll be just fine. But no, I'll have fun with the Boyle comment or the Blau comment, but I'm not better than Jared Goff. Jared Goff, first and foremost, is 4 inches taller than me, and he's been playing pro ball for 6 years. I haven't played ball in freaking almost 7 or 8 years.
I would say at least a decade.
Little less than that. I've been in the military for 5 years. I was in college for 4 or 5 years, so it's been actually about 8 or 9 years. So you're almost there. But either way, the point is I'm not better than Jared Goff. In fact, there are very few quarterbacks that are better than Jared Goff. Goff with another big wide receiver and Reynolds back with Chark and St. Brown, then could be a little more deadly. Just saying. Absolutely. If you give Jared Goff an Alex Pierce, Chris Watson, or any other one of these guys, dude, Goff will be just fine. He'll be
agreed,
just fine.
Charles. Look at Charles's comment.
I'm a coach and never played QB, but I'm better than Blau and Boyle. I'd be willing to take that bet.
Goff.
Like
Goff
again,
ended with what? 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
I'm gonna go look at his numbers right now. I was wondering if he got to 4,000 yards.
No, he.
Jared Goff had 3,200 some yards,
3,245,
19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, a 91 QB rating, and like 67 completion percentage.
He also missed 3 games and parts of a fourth, did he not?
Yes,
he missed 1 game with an oblique injury, 1 game with COVID, and 1 game with a knee injury.
3,245.
So he put up decent numbers despite missing 3 games and having a pretty
you would
damn
be
bad
just
roster
on average.
Here's another comment from Quinn. Shoot, JB Brendan is a better QB than Blau and Boyle, and Brendan has a glass eye.
That's just a small step up over the Ray Charles comment.
Just a small one. It was funny, though. I'm 51. I can't even throw the ball 15 yards anymore.
Yeah.
So I would be exactly like Jared Goff was in the Anthony Lynn play calling era.
Anthony Lynn, Jesus.
I
feel bad for the 49ers if they can't find somebody else to take over offense.
They haven't found anybody. So he is the expo facto. I don't.
That's what I find so bad is that they literally were 1 game away from the Super Bowl last year, and I guarantee you, just because they have Anthony Lynn on there, they're going to struggle to win 8 games.
I bet you they'll still be 3rd in the conference.
I'll take that bet.
Conference
because in
or
that conference you have the Cardinals.
I'm pretty sure Seattle's going to be dead last.
Oh, that is no contest.
So I said they'll still be 3rd in the conference. They'll be 3rd.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's a toss-up between the Cardinals and the Rams who will ever win the first of that conference, really.
I wonder if Troy climbs up the draft boards even more after his pro day. He may. Right now, he's still considered an early 4th, late 3rd rounder. And as far as I'm concerned, we need 2 linebackers anyways. And with Damone Clark having season-ending spinal cord surgery, That's a second rounder off the board. That should move him up to mid-third round right there.
I mean, there's so many linebackers in
It's entirely possible.
too. Like, you got a pretty good pick of the crop from whatever you want.
Stevie Wonder is a better QB than Boyle and Blau combined, LOL. Dan, come on now.
Somebody's going to say you're against blind people.
I was going to say, are we just naming famous blind guys now? Louis Braille.
Helen Keller.
Yeah.
Mozart.
Don't make her play with
Mozart
gloves, though.
go
She can't talk.
All she'd have to do is sign language. Exactly. Almost reminds me of what's the movie? The Replacement. The deaf tight end.
Yep.
And he's trying to explain stuff, and the guy's like, "Dude, just do what I tell you to do."
Yeah.
Granted, of course, that was the jerk quarterback. When Keanu Reeves was in there, it was more fun.
Though it says on the Niners website that Lynn is just assistant head coach and offensive assistant, not the OC. Because they don't have an OC, he will by proxy get promoted by the start of the season if they don't sign one.
Frisco's OC got a head coach job, didn't he?
Yep. Now,
Now,
who wins the AFC between the Chiefs, Browns, Bengals, or Chargers? Because they all have a solid team. You have to throw the Raiders and Broncos in there now, too.
Yeah.
Dude, forget
People
just the AFC. Forget the
people
AFC.
want to put the Raiders
Just talk
in
about
last.
the AFC West.
The Raiders
The
made the
AFC
goddamn
West is
playoffs
loaded.
last year.
You might have all four of those teams go 9 or better in the win column, and only 2 of them make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think that's isn't that the rule? Only 2 teams from any conference can go to the playoffs?
No, that's
No.
not the rule, because last year 3 teams out of the NFC West went.
Well, either way,
I
it's going to
expect
be
the
hard
AFC
for
West
anyone in the
to
AFC
be what
West
we
to go to the
thought.
playoffs with a decent record.
That's right. I forgot those 2.
Because, I mean, the Broncos, the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Chiefs, those guys are all loaded. All of them are loaded.
People want to put the Raiders in last. It's like, hi, they just got the best fucking wide receiver in the entire NFL, not named DeAndre Hopkins.
Wasn't that that game versus the Falcons? Wasn't that the first game that Netflix went off? Craig Reynolds.
Yes. No. The first game he went off at, I think, was because the game he really went off at was the Cardinals. The first game he went off at was the Broncos. I'll double check just to be certain.
I thought it was the Falcons, and then it was that game that we won, and then Jamal Williams came back is why we lost to the Broncos, because they started him over Reynolds.
Let me check it out here real quick.
Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs in that order as of today. Chiefs may hurt with the Hill traded since. That was Mahomes' favorite wide receiver. Yeah, and they also got rid of Pringle.
All right, here we go.
I think
Okay,
Pringle
as
is
long as their
Pringle.
defense doesn't
Pringle
stink
may
all
make a run with Mooney to be the number 1 in Chicago.
I was right, Jeremy. So the first game Craig Reynolds played was Denver. He had 11 rushes for 83 yards. Against Arizona, it was 26 for 112. And then Atlanta, it was 11 for 29. And then from there, he just disappeared.
So Atlanta was the one where they brought Jamal Williams back then.
Yeah, and that was also the game where Boyle got us all the way down to like the 10-yard line and threw in a triple coverage in the middle of the field.
4 yards behind the receiver.
Exactly. That was horrible. But didn't they just get a pack? Yeah, they did. That was Scantling.
We talked about that. Yep, MVS.
And they signed him to a 3-year, $36 million contract that's fully guaranteed.
$30 million of it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. That
With
was a waste
$6
of
million
$30 million
in signing bonus. Man, that's a big cap hit for somebody that isn't that great.
He wasn't great with Aaron Rodgers. He sure as hell ain't going to be great
I
with
was going
Mahomes.
to say, apparently 34 catches gets you $36 million.
Yeah. 1.666 million per catch.
It's like Trey Flowers in his It's like Trey Flowers in his sacks.
Have a great night and go Lions. Well, right now I want to take a minute and give a shout out to my sponsor, A1 Tire and Auto Repair and TNT Auto Sales, located in Cucaulin. They have everything you need, whether it's a used car, used or new tires. And then we also have 2 more tire locations, 1023 Broadway here in Bay City, and also 945 East Genesee in Saginaw. Thank you, Joseph, for the kind words there. And it's getting that time where we're up against it anyways. Any more comments for us before we hop off here?
Not that I can think of. Go Lions, one pride.
What about you, David? You want to say anything more?
No, not really. Anything else to talk about, we'll get to on Sunday.
Absolutely. Well, it's been another night of kneecap biting with Smokin' Jeremy B. I want to say thank you to David Pike and Detroit Dom for hopping in here and spending time with me on a great Thursday night. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Absolutely.